Sue-Ann, the Yoo-rrook Justice Commission was established by a state government that has been demonstrably supportive of many Aboriginal causes. We are, though, in a very unstable and unpredictable political landscape in Victoria right now, and we're only 11 months out from a state election. Are there any concerns within Yoo-rrook, the Commission itself, about a potential change in government in November 22?
Yeah, so firstly, the letters patent was established with the Assembly, the First Peoples Assembly, with consultation with communities. So it wasn't just completely government. The other thing is that we can't control the government, but what we can control is what's in our power and what we're mandated to do. And so we will concentrate on that. We're not connected to government or First Peoples Assembly. We are a separate standalone body. So although that may affect the Commission in some way, we can't say what way, but also we're a standalone body with Royal Commission powers, so we can only concentrate on what we can control.
Well, talking about what you're mandated to do, it doesn't take a genius to look through those letters patent and really start to appreciate the enormity of what's required of the Yoo-rrook Justice Commission. And we're looking at a preliminary report in June 2022. First of all, what's expected to be in that report? Because it cannot be comprehensive, obviously.
No, and most Royal Commissions will have a preliminary report that they produce within the first year. And so it's basically up to date of what we've done so far and where we're thinking about heading. And there may be, so we've got a data sovereignty piece, and we're looking at that, which is a world first. And so we may need to recommend some law changes to make sure that our data is protected. So there will be things like that. So what we've done to date, strategic plan, values, things like that, how we've set up. What we've started doing, as in investigating or research, anything we feel we may need, so possibly an extension of time, things like that will go into the interim report. So it's by far not comprehensive, but it looks at what we've done to date and some recommendations we may already need or require to help assist the Commission.
Well, talking about the data sovereignty, that's obviously a very important topic. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that, how much the Yoo-rrook Commission would like to extend this and what sort of things it would be expected to fall within that.
So within the data sovereignty, you know, if we think about commissions previously, so if we think about particularly bringing them home, and everybody's story is sort of everywhere and it's sort of open to people, you know, that get hold of it and sort of, because it's on the internet. And so what we will be doing is giving people the option of how private they want their information, what the Commission can use it for. Obviously we'll need the data or the story, and then where that goes from there is completely up to the person, how that's stored, how that's protected. That's their data, they still own it, and that's what we want to create. So our stories aren't open fodder for people to examine or research. It's about who you want as a person to know or hear your story. Maybe people who want to get up, tell their story in a big open public way, great. There may be people who just want to, you know, tell their story quietly, just let us hear it, and that's probably maybe it. But they're all dealt with the same, they're all evidence. So how that protection happens. And so we've got this big piece of work going on behind the scenes at the moment around what the sort of IT looks like to that. And also comparing, you know, the white law, the data sovereignty and the black law, and what we may need to change to make sure that that's done.
Well, stories are going to be an important part of this, and evidence given by community members. The reality is, and maybe it's because of COVID and the stresses over the past 2 years, but we've seen an almost devastating number of our elders pass in the last couple of years. What are some of the challenges that the Commission believes it will confront in establishing the veracity of what could be best described as hearsay evidence?
So within our letters patent, under the conduct of the inquiry, I think it's, if people want to go and look at it, it's under F.2. Their story is the evidence. So this isn't like we're going to sit there and question you because you tell us your story. Your story is the truth. That's the evidence. So Of course, no one sees the same story the same way at any point, but it'll form a bigger, larger picture when you bring that all together. And so the evidence is the evidence of the truth.
Sue-Ann, academically, practically and culturally, you're recognised as a leader in trauma and healing. This is obviously something that was picked up very early on in the piece, even before Yoo-rrook was formed. This was in the Assembly that they were concerned about the transgenerational trauma and the relived trauma that's going to come about as evidence is given. What are the measures that Yoo-rrook is putting in place to protect the people who are giving evidence from what could be devastating relived trauma?
Yeah, so again, the letters patents our mandate. It says in there, do no harm, which is what we want to do. And I've always said as a therapist, I never want anybody to leave the room worse than they came in. And so I carry that with me across to the Commission. And so we need to set up a really flexible social and emotional wellbeing support that will work for everybody, because everyone's different. And so it may possibly look like, maybe an example could be someone's already got their own support person that comes with them. We may support the support person in that instance. There'll be prep done before to make sure that people are okay in telling their truth. So there'll be the before, during and after. So that after is really crucial, in that people may be triggered by telling their story. They may be okay at the time, but that after is really important as well. For me, people need to feel safe to tell their story. Actually, it's a fact. People need to feel safe to open up and honestly tell their story. And we want to do that, not only safe in the sense of the environment, but culturally as well. And people need to trust us. And so in saying that, we need to make sure that people are okay. It's a high priority of the Commission, and people need to really understand that it is. And every consult we've sort of had with people, that's been a topic of conversation. We've just hired our social and emotional wellbeing team, and so we'll start that work on what that looks like. And of course, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. There's stuff out there that already works, we know, with MOB. It just may look different in different communities. So that's sort of the direction we're going to take.
Talking about communities, obviously a lot of our MOB right across Victoria are very community oriented, and it doesn't take much to see that. They will band together, and if they don't want to do something, then generally that whole community just goes along with that. Have there been any problems with any of the communities out there, without naming, or has there been general acceptance?
General acceptance, I think we all want the same thing.
Yeah.
I just think we say it a bit differently. And the fact that people's truths are people's truths, and the fact that they get taken into evidence, I think that's helpful. We as commissioners have signed confidentialities till the cows come home. We've done all that. We're impartial. Yeah. So it's an opportunity for you to be heard, and not just the big voices, but the little voices. Those people that haven't come forward before ever and told their story. But we want them to be able to trust us to be able to do that, because it forms the picture of Victoria, and it forms a comprehensive picture of Victoria. But it also informs an education piece of bringing together past, present and future, and how we got to where we are. And that truth is so important for everyone in Victoria, not just our mob, but for everybody to hear.
Sue-Ann, it's more than just personal stories though, because there's a lot of written evidence, not by our own people, that has been hidden away and is only starting to reveal itself right now. And we've seen quite a bit of that over the past 12, 24 months. So is the Commission looking to work with historians as well to uncover the truth? Yeah.
So for every aspect of the Commission, we'll be looking at what's already out there, what's underway, and so that will form part of the evidence, particularly history. And so we have, as a group of commissioners, spoken about how we bring ancestors' voices in the room. Yeah. So there may be recordings where we get permission off either traditional owner groups or family groups about using that. And we could even possibly, that's really bringing the ancestors to the stand, and we could play that at a public hearing, whatever that looks like. My own nan's got stories that I've never heard that are there, and I'd be approaching my family to make sure they're submitted as part of evidence.
As a traditional owner of Victoria and as a young Aboriginal woman, it's a huge thing to be on that commission. Certainly if you look back over the history of your work, it's worked towards that. But what does it mean to you personally to be a commission with these 4 others?
It's just the biggest honour. It's just such a huge honour to be part of, you know, this history. And we have gone towards this as a Victorian, you know, community. If I go back to my ancestry, William Birrarung, so they had the inquiry in Wurrung. That was the first time Aboriginal people were on the stand. Yeah. So I look in that sense and go, how big were his shoes? I need to, you know, and I hope I can honour that. And so I feel a bit of guidance, and I feel like all those old people are in this with us. And so this isn't just us as traditional owners. This is everybody in the state of Victoria, like everybody in the state of Victoria, bringing to light the atrocities, the inhumane treatment, but also the strength and resilience of our people. Like, that's what we're here for, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't have that. So I'm just, you know, we can shape a future here, and to be part of this, to be a facilitator of voice, I mean, I could never have even dreamed of this. So honoured, and I really want to make sure that you know, I know the other commissioners said this, do this justice for our people. Yeah.
Sue Ann, thanks very much.
You're welcome.